Nobody wants to be around somebody who is of no value. People who have children together end up in court flipping out on each other. What do you think is going to happen with you in a business relationship? All those people who I thought were friends treated me like I was an enemy. Station WIIFM. What's in it for me? And think how they would be thinking. Continue moving forward, continue pressing forward, continue to do things that bring value to you and to others. If you want to stop the bleeding in your life, you must always have forward movement. Personally, I've been through so much, and I put my faith and trust in other people, and that's not their fault, that's my fault. And you should take these lessons to heed. So I've spent millions of dollars in legal fees, fighting cases that I had nothing to do with. But because I put my faith and trust in other people, I got drawn up in it. Attorneys, litigation attorneys, they all make money from chaos and BS. They're not problem solvers. They're mainly, most, not all, mainly chasing litigation fees. So I got caught up in a mess. I had an ex-partner who was supposed to be my best friend. I had faith and trust in my best friend, and some divide and conquer strategists came and put some magic and spells in his head to make him think he was going to be the best thing since Jeff Bezos of a particular industry. We can't blame them necessarily 100%, but he had some issues as well. Greed, ego, that's always the downfall. And long story short, all this BS happened. I got caught up in it. Even though I did not benefit from it at all, I didn't have anything to do with it, millions of dollars in legal fees. And that's just that. Now, while all that was going on, the main lesson for me, besides not trusting and not blindly trusting and not taking heed to many red flags that we often see and we can continue for it anyway, besides those lessons right there, the other lesson is you have to constantly keep moving. Our significant other, even in our relationship, sometimes disappoints us. I'm sure I've disappointed my wife in cases when she put her faith and trust in me, but she can't just give up on life. She can't say, you know what, oh, woe is me, I'm just a victim, and then that's it. She had to go through that. You have to go through whatever it is that you're going through, but continue moving forward. Don't just stop. Don't say, you know what, that happened to me, all is lost. And the reason I'm saying that is because while I was going through all these legal issues, I had many different fires going on at the same time. And because the fires are going on, there's like a distraction. The fires are important, but if you put 100% of your time and energy into those fires, you won't have anything for yourself after the fires are over with. And that's the whole legal litigation game. Their whole thing is focus on fires, because that's how most of these guys make money, especially the unethical ones. That's all they do. They have a license to lie in many cases. That's why they say lawyers are liars. I never understood that because I know some lawyers and I'm like, my friends aren't liars, but a lot of them are. And that's not the only case. And so while all these things are going on in your life, what are you doing to build something? Even though there's wars going on, even though there are battles going on, you still have businesses operating. Hopefully the entire country is not at war. So you still have to continue building your infrastructure, because once that battle is over, once that war is over, what do you have left? Do you have any income coming in? Do you have any leads coming in? I'll give you another case in point. I was investing in myself big time, but I was also investing in the business. And so what that means is in some cases, I would pay $40,000, $50,000, even more into, let's say, a mastermind or something like that, or a program that may not necessarily benefit you at the time, and it may not even be teaching you anything that's super beneficial or that even applies exactly to your business. Yet, there could be something there that goes beyond just a transaction, which is a relationship. And so sometimes I would invest into relationships even though I wasn't getting anything in return at that particular moment. Part of the reason for the investment is, one, I believe in the person. I want them to succeed, just like the same way people want, let's say, the United States to succeed. It's not that they will absolutely benefit right then and there, but they know that you can't tear down what you're trying to build up at the same time. I hope that's a good example, but they have faith in that particular system. And so I would invest sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars into these programs, thinking that later on I would be able to benefit from it. I could always come back to it. Now we get to the point where it's time for me to say, hey, I need your help. I need this, I need that. And unfortunately, people have lives. People have moved on to the next. They are doing what you and I should be doing, which is constantly moving forward. I go to these people and I can't find them now. Like they're not there. To be honest, I'm just being absolutely 100% real with you. They are not there. They're alive and they're thriving, but they're not where I was, meaning I invested that money then. I may not have gotten anything then. There may have been an agreement where, hey man, you can come back and get this later on, but sometimes you're not going to be able to get a response back from those people. And that's just what it is. You can't blame them. They've moved on. And unless it's in writing, it doesn't mean anything anyway. That's just really how it is, unfortunately. Yet, what was I doing to continually build during that time period? You make the investment, let's say for January the 1st, 2024. Nothing happens. You're in this program. Nothing happens because maybe they don't have anything to offer you at that particular moment. Maybe you're not ready at that particular moment. Now, January 2025 is here. You're ready. You say, hey, let's go. But they're not ready to go. They're like, listen, you already paid me. I'm good. That money is spent. And there's nothing holding me accountable to it. So what have you been doing from January 2024 up until January the 1st, 2025? I've heard this saying before, but I recently heard it by a guy named Joe. And he says there's a station called WIIFM. And that's how people think. What is in it for me at all times? No matter what is in it for me? And what I mean by that and how it relates in this case is people are thinking about, okay, fine, you may have given me $100,000 a year ago that you may or may not have benefited from, but they're going to say that's on you. Fast forward, they're thinking in their mind, what's in it for me today? And it's kind of human nature. Your significant other, if you give your significant other, for me would be a woman, my wife, if I give her flowers on February the 14th of 2024, and it's February the 14th of 2025, do you think I can say, hey, I gave you a box of chocolate and flowers the Valentine's Day prior? No freaking way. It's better not to do anything than to say that. Give her a card, cook dinner, go out to eat, go on a trip somewhere. Yet you cannot use what you did before because they're thinking, what's in it for me today? And not in a selfish way. You do have some significant others out there that are super duper selfish. I was with one a long time ago, just probably one of the most selfish people I've ever met in my life. But that's a rarity. For the most part, people aren't like that. Significant others aren't like that. I don't know about today. I've been married for a while, so I've been blessed not to have to go through that whole dating game. But especially in terms of business and people who are not your significant other, people who don't have an emotional connection with you, that's how they're thinking. I recall when things were going good, when I wasn't being beat to death by litigators and people who were scamming me or who were taking advantage. I recall just hanging out with those people, just bonding, not anything about business whatsoever. Things were going well. But the moment things stopped going well for me, there was really no benefit for them by having me around. People always want to hang around people who are doing very well, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because people who are doing well can also bring more good things to other people who are looking for more great things to happen to them. And the moment things started happening that weren't going well for me, all those people, not all, some, I could be right in front of their house and they wouldn't even answer the phone. I remember one guy recently that I reached out to, and I just wanted to send him something via regular mail to say, hey man, thank you, I appreciate you just for being around, just reestablishing relationships. And I know the guy, I've been with him before in terms of like in person together. And the guy looked out for me, you know, gave me a ride or something like that, just small gestures. I couldn't even get the guy's address. He gave me a fake address because what's in it for me at that moment didn't make sense. Like, why do I even want to be friends with you? Was the thing. And we get beat out of shape with that. Culture or complexion they are. It doesn't matter how much pro this and pro that. It doesn't mean anything. What's in it for me is always at the base of how people are thinking. Yet, you can't hold that against them. If you take it personal, you're going to lose. What are you doing to consistently build? Because if you're consistently building, if you're consistently doing something, those kind of people, which are the majority of people on the planet, they're always going to see people who are doing well as people who they want to be around, people who have things going on. They're always thinking, what's in it for me? If I go to that event, I can get something. If I go to that person's party, I can get something. If I'm around them, I can get something. If I even just take a picture with them, I can get something. That's how people think. And so the way you remain valuable is constantly to be building, constantly moving forward. If you're just chilling around all the time, that's not building value for yourself. If you were a man in the home and you worked 3 years ago and you just stopped working ever since, I'm pretty sure no matter how much she loves you, she's going to see you in a different light. She's going to see you as somebody who's invaluable. not just to her, but to yourself and to the children. And if it's a woman who's in the house who is no longer bringing any value to the home whatsoever, it doesn't matter how beautiful a woman thinks she is. At some point, all you are, if you're not bringing anything besides just a look to the table, people start to see you as just an object, something to pay for. And we all know most of the things that you pay for don't necessarily retain value outside of the perception of the person purchasing it. I'll give you some other examples. Working with sales agents. Some of the sales agents that my ex-business partner and I had together, or recruited together, I've had dinner with these people. I've actually had to help them against my ex-partner in some cases when their money was funny or when they couldn't get in communication. Like people I've known for a couple years, would talk to them on the phone. I remember one lady who actually met her and her husband invited me out to their home in California. I spent the night over there and we became pretty cool. She's in sales, I'm in sales, we're working with the same entity or in the same industry, and we're definitely pretty cool. Things happen. It's about money and it's about how I can make even more money. And when that happened, all those people who I thought were friends treated me like I was an enemy. Why is that? Is it because we were friends and they just didn't like me anymore? No. It's because even at the onset of the friendship, I'm thinking we're cool, I'm thinking we're friends. It's really about WIIFM, which you always must be tuned into. They were about what's in it for me. And the moment something is not in it for them, that's when the true colors come out. You don't want to take it personal. Yeah, outside of your family. Luckily for me, I have family that will always love me, always be there for me, regardless. Period. Always, right? And I have proof of that. Just recently, I was like calling people who I know make 8 figures a year, some maybe 7 figures a year, and people that I've helped as well, to say, hey, I'm trying to do XYZ. Do you want to participate? Can you help just a little bit? You can't even get a phone call back. You can't even talk to those people because what's in it for me is at its height. Now, you'd be thinking that these same people would be people who would absolutely be there for you. People who you can, when things get like tough, you're like, okay, I know these people are going to help for sure. But that's not always the case. You always have to be thinking about what's in it for me. Hopefully this message here shows you not about what to think negatively about people or how people are just all about themselves. Yes, they are. And they are about themselves. And so are we. When we invest in things, we are thinking about what's in it for me as well. Some of us, like myself, may be doing it the wrong way, where instead of thinking about what's in it for me all the time, some of us think about how can we help other people. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to understand that when you do that, you can't put your feelings in it. You have to still think about the business side of things because that's what everybody else is thinking about. And this is why you see even people who are married, they have children, like think about this, people who have children together end up in court flipping out on each other. Like you're like, wow, how can that happen? I thought they loved each other. Brutal fights with each other. If that can happen where people are having brutal fights with each other, trying to tear each other down big time, trying to destroy one another, and they have children together, what do you think is going to happen with you in a business relationship? People are going to change. People are going to flip. So always go into it thinking what's in it for me, but also make sure that you understand that's what they're thinking as well, so that you can always keep in the back of your mind, I need to make sure I'm always providing value. If I want this relationship to maintain itself, I need to provide value. I need to remain valuable. And that may not be doing something for them, but just of value in general. You need to be a person of value. I hear these relationship podcast shows talk about a man of value and a woman of value, and sometimes I don't know what they're talking about. I hope they're not talking about just looks. To me, that wouldn't be of a person of high value. It's just a person who's beautiful, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's plenty of beautiful women out there and handsome men, I'm sure. Maybe they're talking about a person of high value who keeps themselves up pretty well, but also has the financial means, because I think it has nothing to do with money, first of all. I think the value, intelligence, wisdom, patience, compassion, how well a woman can keep our home together. That's like the most important thing. Everybody goes home every day, hopefully, and no man wants to be in a situation where he has to go home to a hellhole. If you really talk to a man, the most important thing in his life is his wife. That's the most important decision I think a man can ever make, is who he marries, because that will dictate so much that happens in life, how you go through things, when you're going through things, who's got your back, who doesn't, the mindset, because she's going to be your biggest counselor, right? Your children, everything is going to go through her. And I'm telling you, you do not want to be with somebody who doesn't have it up here in regard to your children. You're talking about a life of misery. Listen, I cannot stress enough. So I'm jumping around here, but I want you to understand station WIIFM. Tune into that. Think about that when you're talking to people, and understand that they always looking at you in that way. So remain valuable, even if you just do you. Maybe you have books that are out. Maybe you have podcasts that give value. Maybe your posts give value. Maybe you call people and give value. Maybe you send emails that give value. Look into businesses to see what all the different problems are, and you give value. Or maybe you're just making suggestions to businesses or to people, but you're constantly giving value. So when people think of Khaazra, when they think of you, oh, this person can do this for me, this person can do that for me. Nobody wants to be around somebody who is of no value. I'm telling you that now. It's unfortunate. I went to Detroit recently and had to see some really close family and friends, and they weren't doing well at all. And in one of them, it didn't seem like anybody wanted to be around them at all, like period. And I thought about that. You have institutions that house people that aren't able to take care of themselves, but they came from a family. Why aren't they with their family? And this is a touchy subject. There's no judgment whatsoever. Yet why aren't they with their family? Is it that everybody else is tuned into WIIFM? What's in it for them, or what's in it for me? And so that person has no value. So send them off. And I know in some cases people just can't take care of people. They don't have the financial means. So you send them to a place where they can do better. But I do know other cultures who don't do that. They'll send somebody out. They'll hire somebody, again, having the means. They'll hire somebody to come and help take care of, let's say, their parents or a family member or whatever it is. Yet there's many other cases where that particular person, for whatever reason, and no judgment, they are of no value. And so they are sent away, unfortunately. And that's just the reality of it. And that's at that very crude level. But step outside of that for people like us who are healthy enough to do for ourselves. Are people reaching out to you all the time? I remember I spoke at a friend of mine's event, Neo. I think it was at his birthday party. I must have paid him like $35K. And I thought I would have 30 minutes to speak, and I wasn't that good when I spoke, I'll tell you that. And on top of that, I had like 20 minutes. So I was rushing going through my slides, like literally rushing going through my freaking slides. And so I was teaching, which is like a professor, which is kind of boring, to be honest with you. And I was going through my slides. But I remember him telling me before I spoke, you'll know how well you did by the people that come and talk to you. And I was like, okay, all right. I was like, cool. I heard him, but I really didn't totally understand. When I spoke, I think I might have had one person come and talk to me. Nobody had anything to say to me because I was boring. I'm talking from slides. I'm rushing, trying to finish. I'm not really connecting with people. So I was of no value. I literally did not give any value. I remember speaking at his other event. I think I might have paid $50K, or I forget what it was. And I spoke again, talking from slides and not really effectively talking from slides. And I was rushing during that time as well. Afterwards, I might have had a couple people talk to me because we had a big booth, so they couldn't help but to see us there at the booth. Yet my talk wasn't really organized well enough for one. I was rushing for two, and I didn't give value like I should have. So nobody really came to talk to me. Even then, they came to our booth, but I didn't incite enough interest for people to want to have conversations with me about whatever it was I was talking about on stage. I may have developed those slides based upon what I felt or whatever my instructor at the time explained to me how to teach. I forget the guy's name, who is like a group who teaches people how to do presentations from stage. I thought that was the most boring way to teach. But anyway, it didn't work. So make sure whatever you do, you always tune into WIIFM first. What's in it for me? And think how they would be thinking. And even when you're not working with people, no matter what you've done for people, don't think about, okay, well, I did this for them and I expect this, because that's not the case. I have plenty of people who, and I just mentioned it, who I have been around. We've gone out to eat. I've taken them out to eat. I've done many things. If I text them today, they wouldn't text me back. Or if I see them in person, they'll be like, hey man, we got to get together. And it's just is all BS. And I don't take it personal. I'm not doing what I need to be doing to remain valuable enough because I'm of no value. Just like the people who get sent away to different institutions because they can't take care of themselves and they don't bring enough value for other people to take care of them. And like I said, no judgment there for whatever reason they're in that position when you're not in that particular institution, but we're out here and we don't have people constantly reaching out to us. Like if LeBron James, even at 40 years old playing basketball, if he says, you know what, this is the last year I'm playing with the Lakers, I guarantee you he would have 15 teams saying, come over here with us. He would still have teams saying that. Stephon Curry, if he said, all right, I'm done with the Warriors, he'd have tons of teams coming over there to him saying, please come over here and play with us. And you think about that in the business world as well. It's the same thing. So remain valuable. Don't get caught up in the personal stuff where you're like, oh, I did this, or I paid this. I paid $100,000 before for a mastermind. I'm sure I can't get in contact with the owners of that mastermind unless I reinvested again. And even if I did reinvest, I'd probably have to reinvest at a whole nother level because they are about what's in it for me. But not only that, they've moved on and they're doing so many other things more than likely. They have family, they have businesses. They're not thinking about what happened. We get stuck in the past, or I got stuck in the past. They're thinking about what can he do for me now? How much can he pay me now? Or if he can't pay me in cash or money, how else can he pay me? And so I need to be thinking about the value I'm bringing as well. Now, if I invest, I expect something, but I'm coming in just like I'm a total stranger, and that's how people think. If this helps, continue moving forward, continue pressing forward, continue building, whether it be studying, whether it be learning, continue to do things that bring value to you and to others. I hope this helps.